dear friend Tom Langan. Always makes my day when I see a handsome guy like Tom pop in here. What's up, Tom? How you doing?
I'm doing well, Dom. I'm doing well.
Oh,
Welcome back to Not the Smartest
nice.
Guys in the Room, everybody. I was a little bit
I'm
late getting us
seeing
up.
Tom. I'm not hearing Tom today. Let's see. I'm not hearing Tom in
Oh,
Clubhouse.
here we
Let's
go.
see.
Here we go. Here we go. Now you're hearing me. Now you're hearing me. Sorry
Here we
about that.
go.
I was doing a little juggling, but uh, good morning, Dom. Welcome to Not the Smartest Guys in the Room, everybody. Appreciate you guys. I was a little bit slow getting the clubhouse room open, juggling couple of things. We're live on Instagram today, so just wanted to was trying to get that up. It's a little bit more complicated than just the way we've been going live everywhere else. So there were extra buttons to push, and it took me a second. But good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you. Hey, did you ever see people that drive around with their IGs, their IG handles on their car? Like it'll be on the side of their car, their IG, or on the back of their car.
I mean, I've seen companies or people with like personal brands or businesses or whatever that have like wraps on their cars that have like their Instagram handle or something, which feels weird to me. Like, I mean, I don't know. It feels very. I hate to say this because it's like it's gonna. I don't know. I don't know how to say it without it being like feeling rude or mean, but like feels like a real boomer thing to do. Like it reminds me of like that commercial where they were making fun of like the old lady who was like putting stuff up on her like wall, like her like Facebook wall or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? And they
Yeah.
were like, that's not how this works. It's not how any of this works, right? It's sort of that thing, like driving around with your Instagram handle on your car, like on your wrap or whatever, is sort of the equivalent of that. It's like a boomer. It demonstrates like a Luddite understanding or approach to like how digital media works.
If we were doing PSAs already, I would be like, it isn't cool to have your IG on your car, but maybe it is cool, Tom. Maybe we're out of fashion and like you should be like Talex man, like it's usually like low rider cars and stuff. But now that I say it, maybe they're just like, hey, you probably like my car and you need to look at my pictures of my car. Maybe that's what it's about. So as I'm saying it's not cool, I'm now kind of wondering for like if you're in a car club, does it have its premise?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Give me some context, right? Because like it's without context. I think it's like it's hard to sort of because the context that pops into my head is like a business rap, right? And it's sort of
Okay.
like I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit silly. All people need is the name of your business. If the name of your business is tied to your social media accounts, when they Google you, they'll pop up, right? So like all they need to know is the name of your business. They don't need your individual handles. They don't need like the URL or any of that stuff. It's like it's kind of weird and silly to put that on. But like, what's the context that you're talking about if it's
All
not?
right, all right. So the context that I'm giving you in this is I have seen I've seen pink cars that are girls' cars that say like at hot whatever on the back. I've seen more low rider like G'd out type cars that have like at Hot Wheel 999, or at so but it seems like people with cool lowrider type. What would you call that? Adapted car. Thinking that they should put their IG handle on their car as a way to get more attention to them because they are cool or available or somebody else would want to date. That's the vibe I'm getting, though.
I don't know. That's weird. It's like a very weird niche context or example. I mean, and I don't know. It's a I don't know. It's an odd choice. I think it's a weird choice. Like at the end of the day, you're gonna get more people if you create good content, if you position it well, even if you just boost your content a little bit, do like a little bit of like paid, targeting or whatever, you're going to reach vastly more people online than in a shorter amount of time than we'll ever see your car driving around and actually take note of your Instagram handle, like as it's, because what like somebody's driving next to you and they're gonna like look up your like, come on. So yeah, it's I don't know, I think it's weird, I think it's silly, it doesn't make a ton of sense to me, like, and if you have it on there for car shows, like make it a decal or a sticker that you can take on and off, put it on your windshield or whatever, like when you're at car shows or something. But like, oh yeah, I don't know, driving around with it all the time, weird. I think it's weird. Like that's my take.
All right. So I brought it up. I mean, I didn't know where we would go with it. Okay, Tom, this is not the smartest guys in the room. Today we're talking about common mistakes clients make before working with you. So if anybody comes up and wants to drop something, we'll tell them that. But for you in the media business and the production business, Tom, do you want to lead off on what you were something, and we can go back and forth, and maybe we have a few that could help you. Maybe you could help a guy like me not make a mistake. If I come to Talex and I need some help from Talex on something, what could I do to smooth that process? So give me a mistake, Tom.
Can I first just ask why you said Talex like that? You were like Talex.
Talex. How do you say Talex? Jeez, what a tough crowd.
Talex. Just Talex. It was just it was like a weird, like almost like read like sarcastic overemphasis, like motivation champs.
Man, this is a tough crowd. Dave, did I say anything weird? Anybody here? Put it in the comments. Did I say anything? Tom, okay, so at this good company, this very special company that you pronounced eloquently,
Talex. It's just Talex. It's very easy. Talex.
Just Talex. Okay, what do you go on, man?
Yeah, I mean, so all kidding aside, right? Like the biggest mistake that I see people make, like it's a classic, right? From my perspective, it's a classic mistake that I see brands make over and over and over again. Is like a business will decide to like do video, and like it's weird. It's kind of surprising to me that in 2026, I'm still saying businesses will decide to do video, because the truth is that if you are not already employing video, you're way behind the times. But there's a lot of brands and businesses that have not, as of yet, embraced video as a communications tool, which is crazy to me because it's the most powerful tool they have at their disposal, bar none, period, end of story. Like, come at me, but you're going to lose that debate, right? Like, there's no question about it. It's the most powerful tool they have for communications. And so there's still businesses that are sort of like just getting on the bandwagon of doing video, right? But they'll decide to do video, and then they'll make something that they or their boss wants to see, right? They'll make something for themselves. They'll make something that they really want to watch, that makes them feel good, right? And they'll be really excited about this piece of content, about this video that they're going to put out. Maybe it's a brand video, maybe it's a brand story video, something like that. They'll put it up on their website, or they'll put it out on social media, and it'll get like a pity like from somebody's cousin, right? And then it'll just kind of not like 12 views, and then nothing will happen as a result of it. And the takeaway that the business will come away from that experience with is video doesn't work for us, right? Or video doesn't work for our industry, right? Or our customers don't appreciate video, right? And I call BS, because video accounts for over 80% of all internet traffic, all of it, right? All internet traffic globally, 80+% of it is video, right? I mean, it is overwhelmingly video focused, right? Everybody likes video. Video is incredibly powerful and successful across the world. There is no question as to whether or not video works for your brand, your business, or your industry. The problem is not video. The problem is you, right? The problem is that you're making something that you want to watch as the brand or the business or the boss or the founder, right? You're making something for you, and that is not necessarily what your audience wants to watch, right? Your audience doesn't want to watch you patting yourself on the back about how great your product or service is or how innovative you are in your industry, right? That is not something that a cold audience is going to enjoy watching, right? Because why would they? Why does it matter to them? What does it mean to them? How does it make their life better, right? How does it impact them in any way? It doesn't. And so they're just going to tune out. They're just going to scroll by. They're going to click away. And so like I see that classic mistake happen all the time. It's one of the reasons why I talk about, content should be produced with an audience first mentality, right? Like you should be looking at, okay, what do you want to accomplish? What's the story you want to tell? And then how do you tell that story in a way that your audience will want to watch, right? The whole key is making content that people actually want to watch. And that's what so many brands and businesses get wrong, is they make content that they want to watch, which inherently often is content that their audience does not want to watch. And so it falls flat. And so like that's the biggest mistake, the most classic mistake that I see brands and businesses make, is they don't put their audience first. They don't even consider their audience. They think of themselves as the audience, and they're just wrong. So that's my take.
Tom, that's really hot take. And Dave says, be the customer first. So well said there. Think about them first. Is that, I think that's what you're saying. I'll jump right on with a similar one because you're bringing it up. As a publisher of books, a lot of people I work with, I think, fall in love with their rough draft. So they wrote this draft. They may have spent years on this draft. They may have spent weeks on it. They gave their heart and soul to this draft and they love it as it is. Well, they're coming to a professional and they're asking them for to work with them, and they think that their book as it was right, was perfect, didn't need edited, didn't need any updates, didn't need any suggestions. Tom, and I'm coming right back to you on this. When you are doing a production, how many edits do you go through? How many revisions of scripts do you go through? How many times when you're editing do you adjust the content?
I mean, so with my clients, like, and I do kind of like draw lines for this, right? Because often it's like one of those things, you give people an inch, they'll take a mile, right? So the standard is on any project, the standard included in sort of the cost of the overall project, built into the cost, is 2 rounds of revisions, right? So we'll create a rough cut, what we would call a rough cut. We'll send that off to the client. The client will give us feedback on it, give us notes. We will then incorporate those notes, address those notes to the best of our ability. Sometimes that turns into a bit of a back and forth process, right? Because sometimes, like via email or whatever, because sometimes they'll say, oh, let's do this instead. And there's a reason why. Either we can't do what they're asking for, or they're asking for something that we think will be detrimental to the end product, and so we'll try to explain that and have a conversation about it before we do the work. But then we'll incorporate those notes, we'll execute on them, we'll deliver a fine cut. They'll get another round of revisions, and then we'll sort of lock the project, right? So typically it's 2 rounds of revisions, but it can go more than that, right? Like there have been projects where we've gone through, multiple iterations because new information during the course of production changes what the final goal is of that piece of content. There's an adjustment in their marketing strategy that means that we now need to create a version of that piece of content that can be used elsewhere, right, for that client. So yeah, I mean, I think it it really depends on the situation, but at a minimum, it's 2 rounds of revisions on every project we do.
Okay. And even talking to you about this, how many cuts, how many takes, how many when you're out filming something or something like that. That's once you've already filmed it, then you're having these rounds of editing and things like that. And my only point is here, for anybody to think that first draft, first round, first film, we got it, we're done, it's ready to go. It's not. And so many people come And the second you question or ask or say, did you ever consider that this? Did you ever consider that? When we're reading this, we notice that chapter one, it appears that maybe you were in a different place mentally than when you wrote chapter 10. Chapter one seems a little bit aggressive, like maybe you were fighting through something. Chapter eight, maybe you had already processed that pain or guilt or whatever that you're writing about. And the author hadn't taken that into account. They wrote it. And on that night they wrote it, it was perfect because they were mad at their mom, they were mad at their spouse, they were mad at an old boss, and now they wrote it, put it out. So my first one is don't fall in love with that first draft. Be open. And I'm not saying you. At the end of the day, I always say it's your book, your baby, it's yours. You do what makes you feel the best at the end of the day because it's yours to stand the test of time. But be open to the suggestion, process the suggestion, and then do whatever you think is right for you, your brand, your book, your business. But be open to the suggestion. Don't fall in love with that first draft. So there you go, Tom.
Yeah, and I would say, like, to your point there, right, to just take that parallel a little bit further between sort of publishing and writing, and what I do in production and specifically in video production. There's a lot of stuff that never sees the light of day, right? I mean, if we're going out to film something that ultimately will be condensed down to say 2 or 3 minutes, we will often film, between 60. We'll often film about an hour's worth of content per minute of finished video, right? So if you think about that, it's like a 60-to-1 ratio, right? That we're filming for every 60 minutes that we film in the field, we get about a minute of finished video out of it, right? So like you think about that ratio, and all of a sudden it puts that idea into perspective that like, just because you wrote something down, just because you pressed record and pointed a camera at something, doesn't mean that it should be included in the finished draft, right? Otherwise, I'd be able to shoot, a crazy amount of content every day because I'd go out and in 3 minutes I'd have a video, right? Because if I'm shooting 1-to-1, right, if everything I shoot gets in, then I only have to record for 3 minutes. And all of a sudden I'm done. What do you know, right? Like, but it's more like 60-to-1 rather than 1-to-1. So that ratio is probably higher for me than it is for publishing, right? It's probably not 60 pages of rough draft to get a page of the finished book. But there's definitely stuff that gets tossed, and you have to be okay with that, right? Like, you can't be married to everything, right? You can't be in love with everything that you create. That's I don't know. That's like antithetical to creative work, right? Like you have to be willing to throw things away and recognize when things aren't great.
And sometimes the story or something that you put in may be great to you. It may have been this special moment in your life when you met Michelle Obama, or you met Jennifer Aniston, or you met Michael Jackson. Well, that's really cool, but it has nothing to do with the book and doesn't help. Like you're writing a fable or you're writing 10 business tips, and now you're sharing that you met Jennifer Aniston. Well, how does that help to your point and Dave's point? And how does that help the reader? It doesn't. It was just like you cramming in this. I met Jennifer Aniston. Okay. All right, let's hear from Dr. Tachi. Dr. Tachi, we're talking good morning, and Dave afterwards. Lois, you want to come up? Whoever, come on up. This is not the smartest guys in the room. We're talking common mistakes a client makes before working with you. So, Dr. Tachi, are there any common mistakes you've seen a few times that a client could make before working with you? And then explain your business a little bit when you break that down. Go on.
Hey, good morning, everyone. So yes, well, first I'd like to say to Tom, like 100% everything he said. One thing I always say when it comes to shooting footage is you can always get rid of what you don't need, but you can't create what you don't have. So it's always better to overdo it because you never know what you may need that for. So 100%. In terms of clients or potential clients, let me tell a quick story. So I was when I was teaching at my other university full time, I had someone who I knew said, "Are they looking for like any instructors or adjuncts?" I said, "Well, what's your area?" And she let me know. I said, "Okay, that's not my area, but I can find out if they're looking in that area. I teach communication." And she said, "Oh, I can teach communication." My dear, you cannot. That is not what your degree is in. You don't have any hours in that. So the popular thinking is because I talk on a daily basis or I know how to communicate, I can voila teach communication. So that feeds into what I'm about to say in terms of clients thinking they already know. That's like me because I have a calculator. Oh, now I'm a certified CPA. Or simply because I happen to buy a blood pressure cuff. Well, I'm a physician now. My dear, I am not. And so I think because everyone has access to material or equipment, I should say, to film, whether it's your phone, whether it's a DSLR, because, these things are really affordable now, and I'm saying that in quotes, but affordable compared to years ago when you didn't have access to it. So now, because everybody has a studio in their pocket, they think they're Scorsese or Spike Lee and they can do it. So the mistake is thinking that they already know when this is a craft. Shooting video, that doesn't mean you can't shoot video and connect with people, but it's a field and it's a craft for a reason. So nobody does that when it comes to medicine. Nobody does that when it comes to engineering, where they think, oh, I could do this. They respect the craft. So there's a lack of respect sometimes for the craft of creating videos and telling stories because the equipment is available. So now everybody thinks they can tell the story adequately and they can do it. Or they had some success one time and they did not, they weren't able to replicate it. Well, that's because you don't understand and haven't studied the craft. Simply because the equipment is available to you doesn't mean you know how to do it. So I think those are the things I've run into where people think they can do it because they have access to the equipment. My dear, you can't. It's a craft. So that's my 3 or 4 or 5 cents.
I like that. I'll take all the change you got, Dr. Tachi. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I think whenever I come across this, the thing that always pops to mind is it's not necessarily just the tool. It's not about the tool. It's about the tool and the hands that the tool is in, right? Like, I own a hammer. Would I call myself a carpenter? Absolutely not. I own a pipe wrench and a pipe cutter. Would I call myself a plumber? Absolutely not. I own wire strippers. Would I call myself an electrician? Definitely not. So, I think it's not just about having access to the tool, right? Just because you have access to a tool in the way that we all have access to cameras to be able to film things now because we're all walking around with smartphones in our pockets that record, in quite high definition, that can create quite good content, doesn't mean that everybody's a cinematographer. It doesn't mean that everybody's a filmmaker or everybody's a producer or a director. It just means you have a camera, right? So I think, yeah, to your point, that's the phrase that always jumps to my mind is it's not just about the tool or just having access to the tool. It's about the hands that the tool is in, whether or not you know how to actually use that tool to its maximal function to create something really good or novel with it, right? In the same way that a great carpenter can use a hammer and a handsaw and some very basic tools to create an intricate piece of furniture, something that I could never hope to do, right? Because guess what? Just because I own a hammer and a saw doesn't make me a carpenter, right? And the same way that just because you have a camera in your pocket doesn't mean you're a filmmaker, right? It just means you got a camera in the same way that I got a hammer and a saw. So I don't know. What do you think, Dom?
Well done. I have a question for both you and Dr. Tachi on this. So, what about this theory of do with do what you have, do what you can with what you have? So, let's say you have a beauty salon that wants to start taking videos of people's hair, or that they just cut, they walk around the salon or something like that, or you have a auto detailer that wants to walk around the side of the car and take pictures, or he's not either one of those people are not a production expert. Should they not do it, or should they understand, well, I'm not putting out Martin Scorsese stuff, I'm putting out the side of a detailed car and a lady's hair at the salon. So go on, both of you.
You want to go first, Dr. Tachi? You take it first.
Okay. I think part of the thing that I love about this age of technology we're in is that technology is so readily accessible to the average person, and you don't have to deal with the gatekeepers that you used to have to before. But in that, I think that, and this is just my opinion, that if you're going to take video and take photos, you need to approach it with the same respect as someone who's doing it as a cinematographer or a high paid photographer would. That doesn't mean you are perfect. That doesn't mean you know 100%, but you should at least, because here's the thing, if you do it wrong, your intended message does not get across. Meaning, for example, your photos are blurry, or you're taking video and for example, a salon, and the person who you're styling, the head is completely out of shot. So now you've wasted time because you didn't bother to learn how to frame things properly. So it doesn't mean you have to be an expert, not at all, but it does mean that you need to learn the craft well enough so that the intended message gets across. So, but I'm all for everybody picking up phones and recording and pushing your brand forward, but make sure if you're going to do that, that you're not wasting time and that you're learning how to do it so the intended message gets across. Tom?
I love that, Dr. Tachi, and I think the word that really stood out there early on in what you said was this idea of respect, right? Respect. I think respect the craft, respect the fact that you are an amateur stepping into something that people do professionally, right? And I think the best way to do that is to just be honest and represent yourself honestly as to your skill level, right? So come into it and just authentically say, hey, first attempt, tell me what you guys think. Give me feedback. Let me know what I could do better. What else do you want to see? Like, make your audience part of the process with you, and be clear and honest about your journey and where you're starting from, right? So don't go into it either A, putting pressure on yourself thinking you need to achieve perfection from jump, because that's unrealistic and you're setting yourself up for failure. And B, as you go into it, take the people on the journey, take your audience on that journey with you. Ultimately, it's a great way to build an engaged audience is by imploring them to engage with your content and to provide you feedback and support as you work towards improving what you're creating for them and for yourself, right? And for your brand and your business. Take them along on that journey. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I love that content's been democratized by people having more access and easier access to technology. I think it's a great thing. But I think also you have to have the respect and humility to be able to say out loud, to know your weaknesses and to say out loud, I'm not an expert, but I want to get better. Please help, or let me know how I'm doing. Right? I think that's a good way to approach it.
Okay, fair. Thank you. And that for our newbies out there thinking about recording, that lets them know, hey, go for it. But maybe say, like Tom and Dr. Touch, hey, first video, hold it up. I'm gonna try this. Tell me what you think. Put some comments put some comments in the comments. Yeah. Okay. All right. It's time. It's that time of the show for Tom's Thumbs. We asked Tom something about what's going on in pop culture, something going on in business, in the world. I am consumed by something these days, Tom. So you have to put your Dom hat on for a minute and just take that with this line of questioning. Thumbs up or thumbs down? What do you think about a program, a show? For instance, the NFL, if you are a fan, having to have multiple platforms to watch that show. So in this case, to watch the NFL for a season, you might need to have cable, NFL Network, Prime, Netflix, YouTube. So my question to you is a show that you like, should it be in one place, thumbs up, or is it better that it's everywhere out there and you have to find it and search for it? Thumbs up or thumbs down to searching for your favorite shows and probably paying for them multiple places too, Tom?
So this, I think, is a good example of something that is a broader issue with the sort of streaming world that we live in right now. And the big issue is, it used to be, generally speaking, with some exceptions, but you paid for a cable package, and that cable package, that one bill, right, to that one provider, essentially delivered everything you wanted to watch, right? It delivered the news, it delivered the sports, it delivered the drama, the comedy, the entertainment, whatever the case may be, the documentaries, all of the programming that you wanted to watch was available for one subscription, okay? And now we live in a world where the subscriptions are fractured, the content is fractured and distributed across multiple platforms. They all sort of exist independently from each other. And I think the problem is, and I don't understand why maybe it was because nobody was willing to pay the NFL what the NFL wanted for exclusivity. So maybe that's why they ended up being distributed across multiple platforms. But it drives me nuts that on one night they're on Prime, on another night they're on a different streamer, right? Like, it's completely insane to just, to have a content strategy or have a strategy where you are distributed across multiple streamers, multiple providers, depending on the night of the week. I think that's crazy. I think it sucks for the user experience, right? For the fan experience. I think it makes it really difficult and really frustrating, because you might go to turn on, your team, right? To turn on the game that your team's playing in, only to find out that particular game is being streamed somewhere that you don't currently have a subscription to. And now you're going to miss part of the first quarter because you got to go get a subscription to them and get it set up on your TV. And then you can start watching the game, right? It's a crazy way to do things. I think it does a disservice to the fans. I think it's a terrible user experience. And I think it needs to get remedied. I don't know exactly what the solution is going to look like. I think there's some opportunity for bundling subscriptions, streamlining some of that. I think, like some of the sort of the platforms for sort of smart TVs, like Fire TV and things like that, have done a little bit of that, where like they'll have watch suggestions for you on different streaming platforms, depending on the kinds of things that you watch across platforms. So there's a little bit of that happening, but I think I understand how incredibly frustrating it can be. I think it's stupid. I think the NFL is doing their fans a disservice by making it so complicated and difficult to watch the games. This isn't something new for them, right? They've done sort of black market blackouts notoriously for years for teams, in particular markets around the venues to try to drive people to the stadiums, et cetera, drive ticket sales. So there's all kinds of sort of machinations going on there behind the scenes. But at the end of the day, if the NFL is there to serve their fans, right, and to deliver good sports and good sports entertainment to their fans, then they're dropping the ball, they're fumbling, and for that they get a thumbs down from me.
Tom, I approve of your thumbs down, and today I want more negativity on this. So that I'm just something I believe that the NFL got so big by being broadcast on cable or being broadcast the most places that people could see it. And now all of a sudden, once they got to a certain level, now it's like money grab, money grab, money grab here. But you are the dominant player because your access to your content was so available. Now I see, for instance, like UFC is moving to one place, to Paramount. So they moved the opposite way, where now UFC is going to be on one platform. Now, to your point, I'm sure somebody could pay for UFC and not necessarily the NFL, but good points all around. Okay, this is not the smartest guys in the room. We're talking common mistakes clients make before working with you. Okay, I'm going to give one, then we're going to Jason or Dave, then Jason. Okay, that's the way my thing says. So, another common mistake I see, Tom, that when working with people that want to publish a book, they come to me with a deadline that my book's going to be out like today, whatever day it is today, mid-January. They're like, my book's going to be out by February 15th, 30 days from now. No, your book isn't. You could put it out, but in 30 days, it's underdeveloped. It's not ready. It's not edited. It's not formatted. So people fall in love. We set a date. We already launched. We already told everybody. You didn't do the proper research. You put out a date that is going to hamper your success. So people, rather than trying to do things right, they rush through this process, even with themselves. Even if they want to do it themselves, they put out a date before they're really into the process, even how long it's going to take them to print books or get booked. You set this artificial date without the facts, without the research, and you're setting yourself up for failure. So I caution people when they're publishing books, don't come in with this date where I need to have it by this day when you haven't done the research. So that's a mistake I see. There you go, Tom.
I appreciate that. I think there's people having unrealistic timelines is a very common thing I see. I see as well. There was another one I wanted to mention too from my side, and then we'll go to I'll go to Jason after this, or actually Dave and then Jason. Sorry, Dave was here first, so we'll go to Dave first. But yeah, one of the common things I see all the time is businesses creating a video and then being shocked that it doesn't transform their business or drive exploding sales growth or a huge amount of revenue growth for them. It's just a crazy way to look at it, and I don't really understand why businesses or people who run businesses believe that investing in one piece of video would transform their world, because you can't expect to do anything once and see a huge result from it, right? Like if I said, I'm going to go to the gym once and then I'll be ripped, you would look at me like I was an idiot, right? Rightfully so, because that's a stupid thing to believe, right? It doesn't make any sense. It's like going to buying a racetrack experience, going for a day and driving a Porsche around a racetrack, right? It's like walking away from that going, well, I could win Le Mans, right? Like, because I spent one day driving around a racetrack and taking a course, right? No, you can't. You're not a race car driver. You did it one time, right? So like there's almost no instance where doing something once leads to transformational results for your brand or your business or in your life, right? Consistency over time is what leads to change, right? And that's the only way in messaging, in content production, in strategy, any of those arenas to actually affect change. You have to be consistent over time, and so you have to create more than one video. Shocker, right? What a surprise! What a novel idea! You have to do something more than once in order to actually see some benefit from it. But that's one that I see all the time. Dave, coming around to you. I know you'd been active in the comments and said. You'd refine some stand-up routines, and you've been attempting to write a book. So, what's a common mistake you see people make before they interact with you, or that you see out in the world?
Lots of living on the app. Yeah, no, great to see you guys. Happy New Year to you. I see the biggest mistake I see with a lot of my coaching clients is I deal with a lot of people with neurodiversity and ADHD. They want to make their ADHD disappear, of like, oh, remove all these kind of like things. And the thing is, I can't like remove your ADHD. I can just give you the tools. And, as you were saying, right? Like, it's not using the tools once, but the repeatable patterns of using the tools of mastering what your brain works with, right? So a lot of them want to come in with thinking they have to like go into the idea of change, like they want to get rid of it completely. That doesn't want to be a part of them. But unfortunately, something like a neurodivergent condition like that is something that can't be removed. You have to learn how to accept it, master it, recognize it's where the strengths are and where the weaknesses. So that's the biggest thing that when it comes to clients. But really quickly, Dominic, what do you think of my title idea? Is that a crazy title idea or a funny title idea? I would love your opinion on it. I may have to refer to you for publishing it when I get to that point.
Okay, let me see. Title is Adventures of a Skinny Chef. Adventures of a Skinny Chef. Well, I got it 7 stories, 7 recipes relate to stories. I'm all right with it. I would wonder if that title has already been used, and I'd look that up, man, and see if there's. And I'd need to know more about the book, but I would question that. I would think that title's been used or something very close to it. And not that it's a bad thing, because you can't reuse a title, but I wonder how many, like, if you don't want to necessarily reuse a title, if somebody has 500 reviews or something, you're going to get buried. So think about that as you look that up. Or even on TikTok as well. I wonder if that's being used currently. Is that the question?
Yeah, something like that. I just because every time I go down to Reddit, you always pop in my head there, Dominic, because you're very good about constantly kind of saying about your publishing and talking about your experience and story and everything else. And I just like your message a lot. So that's why I keep coming back to this room, because you guys may not be the smartest guys in the room, but you guys are definitely the nicest and most intelligent guys I've met in a long time.
Dave, man, when we take compliment, we appreciate compliments. Me and Tom have lived our whole life to try to get a compliment. So on that rare occasion when we actually get one, it feels good. So thanks a lot, man. And stay the course there, man. Just like inch by inch, you look up something, and I'm not coming down on the title. I'm saying I wonder, like, you go in TikTok right now, are you competing with 15 people that have something similar? So maybe that you can morph that a little different and find your own path with it. Okay, common mistakes. Tom, you got a PSA? We go into Jason, or you want to go to Jason then PSAs? What do you think?
Jason's been patient. Why
Yeah,
don't we go to
that's
Jason
right.
real quick?
Good call, Tom. See, Dave, you said we're nice guys. Jason comes back. I see Jason has a new profile today. It's almost like thumbnail picture. It's comical. I was looking at it. So Jason must be up to something new for this year. So Jason, this is the idea. The question is common mistakes clients make before working with you, and maybe you could share tips so we don't make those mistakes. What do you got, man? Welcome.
They put on a cape before they're ready to fly. They're trying to be a hero when they don't even know exactly what they want, but they expect you to just like come up and just be like the Cape Crusaders Robin to his Batman, right? So in my business, I've seen a lot of people who watch legal things online, or they assume what they know. They remember something they read in school, um, and how it applies to, like, say, like when you work with the law, civil and criminal are way different. Family's way different, right? So you have all these kinds of ideas about how things works about the legal process, and it's not like TV, it's not like movies, it's not like book stories. Um, you have to be able to, like, say, hey, can you let the person that you hired do the work they're meant for? Because if you try to do their job, you're just a thorn in their wheel, right? You're just a nail, and you're going to deflate their tire, and they're not going to do a good job. So, there's a lot of questions to ask that clients don't ask in any field. I think there's a lot of unknowns until they come across, like, oh, I think this idea might work, because they're talking to other people. So getting ideas outside, but being a hero while you're still on earth, not a great idea. I think people should just, like, sometimes just realize, hey, you paid them, or you've hired them to do a service, and that's pretty much it. But I do like what you guys said about writing books. um I think the biggest problem with authors nowadays is they have no relationship with their audience. I've had too many friends who've written books, their hero's journey, and they don't relate to readers. So yeah. All right, that's all I got to say.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it as always. Yeah, I mean, I think, look, I've always said, I've said it in here before, that I think good leadership, right, or being a good boss is all about kind of giving your employees, or the people that work for you, all the tools that they need to excel at the job you've hired them to do, and then get out of their way, right? Like, your job as the boss or as the manager or whatever is to make sure that they have all of the things that they know what they're supposed to do, that you have clear expectations, and that they have every tool that they need to excel at the job you've hired them to do. And I think it's pretty similar to what you're talking about when you hire someone to do something for you, right? If you hire someone to provide you with legal services or advice, or you hire me to provide you with production services, or you hire Dom to provide you with publishing services, right? Like, you give that person everything that they need to do the job you've hired them for, and then you let them do the job, right? I couldn't agree more. I think it's a sign of good leadership to set people up for success, and then get out of the way and let them succeed, right? So yeah, I definitely agree there. Dom, I've got a PSA. I said that weird. That came out like PSI. I don't know why. Anyway, I've got a PSA locked and loaded, ready to go. You want me to go first, and then you go, or how
How
do you want?
about it? How about it, man? Go first. Do your thing.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna throw my time up on the clock, and I'll give my PSA. So I've been fed a whole bunch of advertising online, on TikTok, on Reels, etc., for stainless steel cutting boards, and I just have to say no. To everybody and anybody who's listening, stainless steel cutting boards are a stupid idea. They are dumb, they are useless, and they are bad, right? And here's why. So sharp knives, right, are actually safer than dull knives. You're much more likely to hurt yourself with a dull knife. Guess what dulls your knife super quick? Stainless steel, rubbing a sharp edge on stainless steel. It's terrible for your knives. Also, it's not necessarily more sanitary than wood. Wood cutting boards are the best. They are the best for edge retention on your knives. They are also more sanitary than plastic cutting boards, and you don't end up with microplastics in your food. So stop using plastic and or stainless steel cutting boards. Get wood instead. That's all I got to say.
There you go, Tom. As a former restaurateur, I appreciate that. Who the hell's using stainless? No, we did use those plastic ones, and we were flipping over them using Clorox, always needing new ones. But they're gross too. A lot of bacteria in there. You really got to clean those things.
Yeah, exactly. I think in professional kitchens, they like to use the plastic ones a lot of times because you can just run one of those cutting boards through the dishwasher, right, to sanitize it, and then it's right back on the line, right back ready to use to cook, whereas a wood cutting board requires more maintenance and more time to clean, right? So you can't just swap it and throw it through a dishwasher. So like in a commercial application, I get it, right? But like for your home, just get a good wooden cutting board. Like stop messing around. Like the stainless steel cutting board thing is nonsense. Nonsense.
Right, right. Okay, let's go. PSA for me, then we're coming to you, Pierre. We got a few things here. We got to push, Tom, push. Okay. PSA, put me on the clock. This one's going to be simple. Okay. Restaurant. I'll go restaurant too. Restaurant. If you say you are having a game, whether that be NBA, hockey, football, March Madness, if you say you're having a game, it should be on when the game is on, and the volume should be on. I came to watch. I need the volume of the game on. Cruise ship, whatever, the volume has to be on in bar where the game is. It is so stinking annoying when there's no volume on when you told me to come there. What, you think I don't want to hear what's going on? Terrible. Restaurants, cruise ships, bars, turn volume on for your games. There you go.
And I would even just say too, like I 100% agree with you. And I think if you're going to advertise that you're broadcasting a game, like come here to watch the game, not only should you have the volume on, but you should actually have it set up so you can put the volume through like the music system that's already set up in your bar. So it's easy to hear everywhere and it's all sunk up. There's nothing worse than like different TVs with different volumes and they're slightly out of sync, right? So like you hear something on one TV like a second before you hear it on another TV, and it's like, you know, you feel like you're losing your mind. Like you're like, I don't know if I just had a stroke or I've had too many beers or what's going on, right? So yeah, I'm with you. I agree. I think it's at the bare minimum, like just do what you said you're going to do, right? If I'm there to watch the game, I need to be able to hear the game. It's crazy.
Yeah, come on, man. It's not right. Okay, not the smartest guys in the room. We're cruising around. Pierre, welcome, Pierre. The question today was common mistakes a client makes before working with you. And if you don't got good, how's your volume? Go on, Pierre.
Okay. Can you hear me okay? Okay, great. Good morning, and thank you for having me. And by the way, very nice PSAs. I like Tom's in particular because I did not realize that with the, I'll admit sheepishly, I have a plastic cutting board. So I will definitely go out and get wood today. Real quick, to the question, I do analytics and I deal with data, and a lot of times I help clients with their models. And I can tell you off the bat, the biggest problem that I see is sometimes clients, it kind of ties to the whole bit with authors and a little bit about preparation that you guys mentioned up. It's the preparation for trying to get to a specific answer. A lot of times people will come up and say, I don't know what's wrong, but I learned over the years to help them to hone in on what they're trying to answer. I think that's extremely important before you go out and get help. Same thing, it's kind of the same concept about when you mentioned about authors when they state a date, but they haven't really gone through the process of editing their content. You have to, when you're working with other people, particularly if you're going B2B, or trying to work with other vendors and clients, you need to be very specific about what it is that you're looking for. Otherwise, you get what's called content creep, or work or scope creep, where basically you are increasing the number of things or tasks that are needed to finish out an agreement when it's probably should have just been a few things just to answer that specific question. So I think it's really important to hone in with anybody. It's okay not to have all the answers up front, but you need to at least hone in on what you're trying to get answered, and maybe a little bit more of the backstory of what's been tried to get to that answer. That's the part that I think that's missing from a lot of things today. And I think I'm going to tie in a little bit to the content, to the mention about being an author a little bit too. I think people are hearing more steps rather than really thinking about process. And I think that's the part that's really missing. If you got all people here all day, I could produce a podcast or produce a book, but they don't think about the processes that go into it. And I think that's the part that is missing for a lot of people right now. They don't really capture that as well as they should. So I hope that helps out for the conversation as well.
That's great. Thanks, Pierre. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, and I agree. I mean, I think, look, we're constantly getting barraged with and sold these, 5 steps to do this, 3 steps to do that, and I think that's created a bit of a shift in culture where people expect things to be 3 easy steps or 5 easy steps or 7 simple secrets or whatever nonsense people are selling. So, yeah, I mean, I hear you. I think it's led people to believe that things are a lot easier than they actually are. Right, and that they don't take long-term consistent effort. Anyway, speaking about long-term, I think it's about time for Dom to take us on a brief jaunt down memory lane. I hear you've got something in mind for the Pittsburghers today.
Yeah, this is a short memory lane, but it's 19 years in the making. My coach, our Steelers coach, Mike Tomlin, has resigned after 19 years. So here's a little picture from one of my books of Mike Tomlin. And here he is again. I love Mike Tomlin, loved him for 19 years, a leader of men. But 2 things can be true at one time. So that's my memory lane. 2 things can be true at one time. Mike Tomlin won hundreds of games for us. He's a Super Bowl winner. He was great. He was a man among men. We've lost for about 7 straight years. It's probably time for him to go. He stepped away. We can reflect and say, man, he had a good run. And it can also be true that it might have been time to go. But I love Mike Tomlin. That's memory lane today, all 19 years. I love him. I love him. I love him. And I already miss him, Tom. But 2 things can be true at one time. So there you go.
Hey, I like it. I mean, look, at the end of the day, 19 years is a hell of a tenure for any coach with one franchise in the NFL. So yeah, hats off to him. And as you said, he won a lot of games with you guys. Took you to Super Bowl. So yeah, it's a hell of a good career. And maybe it is time. Maybe it is time to step aside and let somebody else take a crack at it. See if they can get you back in the playoffs again next year. So anyway, I don't know, Dom. I think we're up against it here. We've got about 2 minutes left. What do you think? Should we wrap it up?
It's time. You do it like nobody else can, Tom. Go for it. What do you got for us today?
Yeah. So here's my final thought. The subject today was what are classic mistakes you see people make, before they work with you, right? So classic mistakes that you see either clients make or potential clients make. And here's what I want people to take away from this conversation. Whatever you identified, right, as common mistakes you see clients or potential clients make, that should be central to your messaging for your brand or your business. Whatever those mistakes are that you help solve for people should be central to your messaging for your brand or your business so that people can really understand how working with you will help them, right? Because ultimately it's all about them, right? Your business will only succeed if they buy in. So you have to help them understand how working with you, working with your brand or business will make their life better and help them achieve their goals, right? So whatever these classic mistakes are that you've identified today, take them, run with them in your messaging. I think it'll help you over time attract more of the kinds of clients that you want to work with. That's all I got for you guys today. Appreciate everybody being here. Appreciate you all being a part of Not the Smartest Guys in the Room. You're the reason why we do this. We say that every week, but it's true no matter how many times we say it. We appreciate you. We love you. For Dom, I'm Tom. We are not the smartest guys in the room. We hope you have a great rest of your week and a great weekend, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.